Greetings and welcome back. I am James Marcuzzo, your host for the KSS. This is week 10. And the article we're going to talk about here is What Makes Us Moral by Kluger, Sharples, and Silver. So in this article, we are talking about morality and what makes us moral and how we got to a concept of morality. And it seems to be very much buttressed, built on the concept of in-group and out-group. And we act a certain way with a certain amount of restriction of our behaviors towards our in-group. Because humans are capable of brutal violence. Not quite as bad as chimpanzees, right? Chimpanzees, if they encounter, right, like this isn't in here, but just interesting. If chimpanzees encounter a chimpanzee from another troop or tribe or another, creature that they think is a threat, they will brutally rip it apart. Just because you're not supposed to be here and we don't know you. Now, humans don't do that. But on large scale, we have seen what humans can do, right? In the 20th century, we had many communist revolutions and the Holocaust. And then the entire practice of slavery across the world where humans were enslaved and treated as property. So we can do some pretty nasty things to one another. But the in-group is where we have developed restraint. How did we develop that restraint? Well, in a previous article by Tomasello that I just talked about in a different video for this week, we have these multiple iterations of games that we play with our in-group that show a series of traits and behaviors. And because we need those traits and behaviors, we develop a sense of empathy and sympathy because we're concerned. We need them to do their job. So if I know that something is bad for me, and I'm concerned about you, and I'm smart enough to figure it out, I can go into this. If fire hurts me, fire might hurt you. I don't want to get burned. I don't want you to get burned. Right? If I want to eat, I know that you want to eat. And I'm concerned about you, so I want you to eat. It's kind of the basis of morality. At least that's the argument they're putting forward in these two articles, because they do really fit together nicely. Now the second article, this one that I'm talking about specifically, What Makes Us Moral, gets more into an idea of some brain research showing how spouses that are told their significant other is going to get zapped with a pain thing, and they have this functional magnetic reference imaging, fMRI, tracking brain electrical impulses. It's one thing, you get zapped and you have a reaction. They say, I'm going to zap you, and then you have the fear, which they can track, and then the reaction. But when you're told your spouse is going to get zapped, assuming you love your spouse, then you will actually have a reaction towards them about to be exposed to pain. That's not normal in the animal world. We actually developed that way because it was preferential for us to have that reaction, right, to concern ourselves with the group. Hope that makes sense. Like a tiger, if a tiger sees another tiger about to get hurt, tiger doesn't care. If I see another person about to suffer, I don't even necessarily have to be in their group. Like if I'm physically close to someone that is about to be hurt badly, I will have a negative reaction. Most of you probably will too. And certainly someone if it's close to you, even more so, more strongly. So that's, set that aside. In-groups and out-groups, though, are definitely an issue that morality concerns itself with because morality is not shared amongst the universal human, right? Morality is within groups. Values exist within groups, right? There is no set of human values, very few. And it's based on survival, usually, and caring for your young. But not all values are shared across humans. And we know that because we talked about the human rights, or whether or not human rights were even a thing. So within your in-group, you are basically going to restrict your more animalistic behaviors and be more concerned, more protective, right, with your in-group. Now, hopefully some of you are thinking, hey, wait a minute, this sounds kind of scary because this could be used to explain bigotry and xenophobia and racism. You're correct. Now, here's the scary thing, and well, it's not scary, it is what it is, but we have to understand it. We are biologically built to be a bit xenophobic. That doesn't mean it's good or that we should, right, engage in that. Just because we're built to do a thing doesn't mean we should do a thing. Okay? So we also, as Americans, happen to live in the most diverse society on the planet. and even more diverse all the time, because we used to be very diverse, but we didn't give a lot of people the right to or the ability to be politically active or to have their voice in society. But now we're doing much better at that, and that's hard. It is very hard to have a pluralistic, diverse society. It's hard for everyone, and everyone needs to do the work to reach across the boundaries, which is what Putnam wants us to do. He says we have to build social capital by stepping outside of our comfort zone, all of us, and engaging with people that are different from us. People that look different, that sound different, that worship different, whatever different. We each of us has to do the reaching across, right, to make the good society, to build that social capital. Etzioni, right, in week 2, he says that's one of the bad things about communities is they by nature exclude, and that's just like a function of human interaction, right? We define ourselves by what we are as much as by what we are not. So it is natural and understandable for someone to be hesitant or resistant to different ideas, different people, different whatever, perspectives, cultures. That's understandable, and it's not racist yet, right? Because just being hesitant, that's a natural reaction, but we have to kind of take that natural reaction and say, okay, well, let's talk about this. We'll figure it out. We're all much more similar than we, some people give us credit for. So, yeah. Good luck. Talk again soon.